Hello, folks. We are back here with, of course, the 1 year anniversary. That was October 15th, 2019. The year of my channel. No one cares about Dynamite. Dynamite had tried to make the show have a semblance of importance with, of course, the turnaround of, like some kind of, Royal Rumble rule to get, for the top tag teams in the division, and I'm trying to understand why you would make something revolve around chance if you have a ranking system. So the other guy who got ruled out all because they weren't picked instead of because of their performance. Somehow, Dark Order makes it in there, even though Alex Reynolds and John Silver are jobbers. So it's obvious already over the inconsistencies of course, Private Party that are obviously not going to be centralized as ever winners. They're going to tease Young Bucks versus FTR. That's practically it. The show was a lack of build, and I understand they're trying to tease over for story aspects, and obviously it's the matches we got to see for practically full gear. That's pretty much, I guess, their WrestleMania. We also have a tournament to after full gear to see who will become the AEW, the number one contender for the world title. And who's the essential favorites? Is it Joey Jelena? Is it Colt Cabana? Or is it just Hangman Page and Kenny Omega are in two different blocks of the tournament? Can obviously meet each other. Yeah. Sometimes I commend the long-term storylines involving AEW, and in some aspects that they actually build to a pay-per-view to make it important for you to watch the pay-per-view. I commend AEW for that. I don't care about Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. They might have a 6-star match. I don't give a damn. The storytelling is we're not friends. We were really friends, and it's just like if you just watch the weekly shows apart from Dynamite and what Kenny's trying to portray, it's just super boring. It feels like an ex-girlfriend. I felt like we really had something instead of a real friend that lost a connection. That's just my opinion. We opened up with practically the best match of the show, and I already have my opinions, partly negative, about tag team matches in the opening part of the show, especially if it's for the championships. So FTR against the best friends for the AEW tag titles after they just had a terrible match against 2HQ. Picked it up. We had some decent dude busters, counters. I like the part when Trent was too tired to even go for the finishing move for FTR. It came to a standstill until I think it was Cash Wheeler bashing Chuck in the head with this tag title for the finish, and it was a decent, fast-paced match. I thought it was average selling, and it looks like they're finally going to finish it off. So why not just have a playoff, like a tournament, especially for your ranking system for the tag belts? Like, I don't need to see John Silver and Alex Reynolds there. I don't. Why do you make something off chance? I understand you want to do something different, but this is just an off way to go about it. Then Kip Sabian came out of nowhere with Miro kicking away Chuck and Trent after their match. And then after their squash match, which Miro using I think his finishing move is called the Game Over. It's just the Acolyte. It's called the Acolyte. They finished off with saying that you broke my shit. They broke his game. We came from a Moscow brawling big man that's a monster of a man with a hot woman being his manager into a 5 out of 10 dating a 9 out of 10, and he's a gamer. Like, and they're still trying to portray a monster. Like, I'm not going to care. And it ends up with them being like, I broke their shit. It was a squash match. If you want me to get into a detail, he did his kick. They brawl on the outside. He started beating the piss out of them. Kip Sabian was barely tagged in the majority of the match just to display Miro. So if you want to do that, why not just do squash matches? Involving primarily him. The favorite segment of the night had to come from MJF announcing that he sort of probably hypothetically maybe want to join the inner circle. With constant teases, constant drags, it was hilarious. Either way, bring up the proposition, and over the constant ass-kissing of Chris Jericho over the weeks that he was trying to butter in him joining the dark inner circle, and obviously Santana, Ortiz, Hager, and even especially Sammy Guevara wishing that he doesn't even join and Jericho doesn't consider it. So that was super entertaining. And then he issued a steak dinner for probably next week on Dynamite. I wish we had more memorabilia. It's like, oh my god, I had a match against Cody, my first ever match on live television. Like nobody's that stammered that these indie schmucks get their first opportunity, other than being in WWE, bombing it. They go off to be on literally another big network and another big wrestling platform to display their skill on live television. And none of these guys are that aware. Cody doesn't reference that, oh god, I'm at AEW, or nobody's like bringing the promotion over, and that shocks me, especially over an anniversary episode. Yet we had another entertaining segment, but we had a discerning match. This match didn't need to drag. I had more entertainment coming from Fat Chris Jericho facing off against Jungle Boy one-on-one, that ending in a draw. Because that was a world champion. I got Jungle Boy over in a close match. But you have Cody that obviously distinguished, now getting his hair back bleach blonde because he's babyface again, yet he won't take any of Orange Cassidy's shit of his lazy style. And he went in a draw, but it took him a couple minutes in a dog collar match against Brody Lee. And the match had some fun spots, but other than that, it was a drag bore fest over the lackluster commentary over the injury of Cody's back because of what he suffered from the match against Brody Lee, and that's what they try to sell it upon. But then JR confused Brody Lee for Darby Allin, so that got me pissed off. The match, we had like a reverse superplex. There was a vertical suplex. There was like what seemed to be a dude buster off the apron. Like we always need an apron spot in the AEW, or else it isn't a hard fought match. And of course, oh god, it dragged on for long until we had some suplexes. Then we actually had fast paced maneuvers. I understand now the semblance of selling the injury, but it just felt worthless. And now they thought of actually selling a knee injury off Orange Cassidy. He didn't have that for the rest of the match when he was sluggishly trying to do his little combo, and it just felt so boring. And the storytelling was upon Dark Order trying to interfere, and if you had that with a quick victory off Cody, it would feel like Cassidy was being cheated on and he was deserving of a rematch for next week on Dynamite. That I can get behind. Not have this waste of Dark Order coming around, then they get ejected immediately, and then you have them fight for the next, like 15 minutes of absolute nothing that went into nothing, into a draw off what was trying to be the freshly squeezed roll-up for the near fall. I mean, for the nearly the 3 count if it wasn't for the timer going on. That was the only thing that got me up in my seat. Anything else was boring to me. The match did not deliver. The ranking system means nothing if many other major favorites that literally have their number on Cody, because they literally pinned him live on television, they never even get title shots. Jericho didn't get a title shot. MJF rarely gets a title shot. And somehow MJF, that literally was a season favorite for the world title picture, Wardlow's in the first round of the tournament. Obviously, to squash up, like win one round and probably have Hangman win to get to the finals to face Kenny. Oh boy. I'm I'm just not that agonized into the matchup, and the match completely dragged. And the time limit system is supposed to make it more, anticlimactic, like make it bigger, make it more important to get the victory. How come NWA Power succeeds with this very quick better, and it's an hour show to a 2-hour show? Next up was a boring matchup, and Hikaru Shida over the last couple of weeks have been having entertaining matches with Ivelisse, Diamante, and Thunder Rosa. Big Swole sucks. This is for the women's title. The only reason why she's even in this wrestling business is because of Cedric Alexander. Opened up with a handshake. We had a headbutt, counters into her dumb Rainmaker forearm. Oh god. We had some. We had, of course, a shining wizard a wizard that literally just nearly grazed the back of freaking Big Swole until she went for another one off the running knee straight to the face. There was rarely any selling, and it just felt so slow. It felt so boring, with Big Swole just earning a title shot because probably she beaten a few jobbers. And then she beats a chick that AEW just signed. Straight back German suplex, a kick out. And Jim Ross was actually getting some stuff right. I mean, other than some guys can't even call him Michinoku Driver unless Excalibur with his ugly ass. It just screams it out. And the match just felt no enthusiasm because you don't make number one contender matches. And then you just now influence Nyla Rose into the title picture. And she's been doing nothing for the last several months since losing the belt. The biggest thing that happened was Vicky Guerrero announcing to be Nyla Rose's manager. And then nothing else happened for the last several weeks. Best women's division in pro wrestling. Freaking jump on the stick. We also had a lot of segments over the night. We, of course, had a spa promo that I thought was pretty hilarious with Britt Baker. And then we forgot. For a moment, I forgot Tony Schiavone was even shirtless until Britt Baker and Reba literally just screamed away. And then they waxed him for an unnecessary scene. I wish the promo could have caught on until she took the cucumbers off and was like, oh god, you're naked. And then we had, of course, Lance Archer, like this was early in the show, assaulting Jon Moxley. Until later in the night, he comes for a bit of payback at an interview involving Jake the Snake and Lance Archer. He comes back, and then it's like it's animosity because this is back in Japan. The compellingness to even continue this feud is enough for me to not care about the title match. But the match was entertaining. At least we had stuff happening. They didn't even issue that much if it was an unsanctioned match. And yeah, it was a no DQ. So we had some steel chairs in the mix. Hit over the guardrail. We opened the match with a freaking paradigm shift. Then a paradigm shift on two tables. Tilt-a-whirl slam for a near fall. A choke slam off Moxley for a near fall. Rear naked choke that nearly had the victory. And that had it. That's it. Off a counter off another paradigm shift for a near fall. What looked to be the near victory and the rear naked choke again. I think it ended still off the freaking blackout. I nearly forgot that also Darby Allin was on the nosebleed seats on the match with Orange Cassidy and Cody. Because he was just there, and I thought he was a major favorite for the world title, and he was like affiliating with Moxley in the feud with Lance Archer and of course Team Taz. So I think they just blacked that out. So he's the automatic number one contender for the TNT title, and this was displayed how I don't know. So it ends with Moxley taking up the victory. Eddie Kingston was also on commentary with the Lucha Brothers that are also in the tournament, facing off against each other in the first round. And it ends with a congratulations, and then a Judas effect. It was just a reverse elbow. I just like calling it that because it's a reverse elbow in AEW, so I'm going to call it that every week until Cody goes back to using the damn code breaker. Something that looks like it can actually knock out a dude. I'm not saying a UFC move can hurt in wrestling, because Kimura Lock can literally rip a guy's arm, but it just feels a bit dumb, especially coming out of Chris Jericho, and he just does that now because he's fat. And, yeah, it ends with a reverse elbow and then a rear naked choke that Eddie Kingston obviously did not tap to. He only was knocked out, and that has to account for stoppage because he's unable to compete, so he's just doing this because he didn't quit. So they're probably going to propose an I Quit match at Eddie Kingston and Jon Moxley or something. I don't know. But that ends with Eddie Kingston on top, knocking out the tired champion after a tough win. Nothing about this feels like an anniversary. We didn't have any celebration, no vignettes. I understand this was to sell off and obviously, do major build for, of course, the pay-per-view. That will be in a couple weeks because we're a month away from November. Am I excited for Full Gear? Maybe. I'm not that enticed because there's not that many of big field matches, especially on pay-per-view. Cody faced off against Darby Allin. That'll be an entertaining match. I don't care about the tournament other than they're just doing Kenny and Hangman to tell more of a personal story. I understand, but it feels boring to me because you don't have any exciting matches to see. And this dumb little Royal Rumble like shtick they did for the tag teams was so dumb. You could have just made a playoff format and it eluded a wild card of some guys in the tag division from like a battle royal or something. I feel like this is dumb. Especially off still making your inconsistent ranking system develop like how these people that work hard every week to do these unnecessary tag team matches go absolutely nowhere, and if you make it off chance to get a number one contender after FTR just defeated the best friends that's been pretty much potential number one contenders for the tag titles for a while now, until now losing recently. But that's Dynamite. I thought it was a mediocre show, in my opinion, especially for an anniversary show, and that should not happen. I'll at least give congratulations to Dynamite to even making it as long as they did. Some other fans, especially anti-smarks, people that don't like some of the particular stars off the roster, thought this was going to last for like at least a couple months until falling down to mediocrity. Some people gave it 3 years. I'll give it like a near half a decade. But other than that, it was a mediocre show in my opinion. There was 2 matches that caught up the show. I don't care about Miro getting upset over an arcade machine because there's rarely that much development other than he's a streamer. And the Big Swole match was mediocre. The best thing in the show was literally the MJF and Jericho segment. And the only thing I can get upon that is practically MJF trying to take over Inner Circle if he even joins. I can see that as a potential storyline, and that I'll be enticed to see because it's 2 of the best talkers involving a faction. So that's at least entertaining to wait for. Other than that, they need to do way bigger stuff to try to build the show. You need a marquee matchup. I'm talking about really marquee, at least in telling storyline. You guys have several months to build until pay-per-view. So at least do something the next time another pay-per-view comes in full gear, because probably you guys are doing Revolution again, that it is on February. And we don't know when time you'll ever be doing monthly pay-per-views, because you guys are like a year in existence. So, that's it coming from the DST show. Thanks for watching. If you want a score, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for some people who likes scores and their critical reviews of shows. But that's it coming from me. If you want to hear more pro wrestling, obviously I'll send a video. I'll probably post a video on the end of this. And of course, if you like sports, I'll do something like that as well. Thanks for watching. That's it.